Why do you think Boys Night Out worked so much, even though it technically didn't really add to the story?
It didn't add to the story. Its existence is non-canonical. It doesn't really make sense, but it's fun because it's almost like a filler beach episode where the main cast can just kind of be goofy and have a fun time together, even if it never really happened. Because having Silver, Ethan, Damien, Tanner, and Ty, Michelangelo too, in a group, just the main romantic interests and Tanner together in one area, just being boys without any sort of competition. It's just they're having fun, because that was something that was spoken to in another interview you did, where there's no competition among the girls.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. They build each other up. They don't try to get at each other's throats, which is something that the high school girls would definitely do if you're in the right clique. But it's a breath of fresh air, I would think, to move away from the main plot for a little bit, enjoy some goofy time and interactions with the characters, then come right back to it after you had not a commercial break, but a break from the tension, a break from the main plot. It's like walking away from a difficult problem and coming back after you had something to eat and being able to look at it with a fresh set of eyes. It's that kind of fun thing. It's nice to just see goofy one-off scenarios like that happen.
I think with the it was funny that you mentioned all the boys. Was funny because Michelangelo and Ethan are not in Boys Night Out because I think Ethan decided to stay at Silver's house or something. He just didn't want to go.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I talked to the voice actors for it. They're like, yeah, I didn't want to be opted in Boys Night Out anyway. It's like they said,
Oh, dang.
both of them were like, yeah, I'm good with staying at home. Like my character just staying at home. Like canonically, if it was to happen, that it's okay for them to stay at home because they don't want to be there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, generically, it would be great to have everyone together, even though Boys Night Out was not that event for it.
Yeah.
But even Boys Night Out, you get to interact with each other. It's fun.
I just find it so funny that if this was up in the canon, that it is canon in both the voice actors and the characters that they just opted out.
Yeah.
They just said, nah, I'm good.
It's a great casting where everyone can really identify with their chosen character.
I just find that so hilarious.
I identify with Ethan there.
Ethan really said. I think we named his dogs in game Toaster Strudel and Sparky Boom Boom. Because he had wireless headphones in, and I was saying some kind of joke. He's like, I heard that. I was like, oops.
Oh, man.
I was like, so Ethan has 2 pets now. So the dynamic between twins and Michelangelo, we didn't get to see it, but I'm in the middle of writing something, and do you think that's how you think they would have interacted, or there was a different way for them to interact?
As we saw in what you're writing?
Yes, because we didn't really see anything in Artist Choice, so like
Right. I think it does work, as Brotherly Bond is 3 years before the main game.
2 years.
So 2 years, I'm sorry. 2 years, a lot can change in 2 years with a dynamic in a group, but I think it does work for being 2 years ago. And I like to think of Tanner and Ty have a dynamic between each other, but then Michelangelo and the twins, as in the twins are one entity in that dynamic. There's another dynamic there. And from what I've seen so far, I think it does seem to come organically, where nothing feels forced. Can be improved upon, but as of now, nothing feels forced, and it does feel like how they would interact with each other. Yeah.
Can be improved upon. It needs more wee.
Wait.
I like how I just kind of knew that that's something that y'all would like. Bing bong.
Oh yeah.
It's just random noise.
Wiggity whack.
Wiggity whack. Biz biz. It's just like
Was
buzz buzz. Do you think there should have been 4 to 6 girls, one for each boy, even if it's not canon?
I don't think you necessarily have to have a one-to-one pairing when it comes to romantic interests. Naruto got a lot of bashing by pairing people off at the end of the show, which I didn't really mind, but when more people pointed out, it's like, you know, there's like one girl for every guy. Wait a minute, hold on. You might be onto something there, Chief. But I don't think it really has to be that way. Some people just don't need to end up with the girl. I think it's understandable that Tanner would end up with nobody for some routes and he'd end up with someone for other routes. Just not everyone has to have a romantic interest by the end of the show. Not everyone needs a happily ever after in that sense. When they can learn that they complete themselves, it's getting in a relationship is not the goal.
It's not the end all or be all.
It's not the end all be all, especially when you consider that their lives continue beyond the game. There is life after the end of an art.
It's funny that you say that though, because I was watching a video where they're talking about how they kind of miss how Disney used to have like the princesses fall in love, because now the princesses don't fall in love at all. And it's just like it kind of feels like it discourages love now. So it's just like there's not a balance between just having love or no love. It has to be either you love someone or you don't love someone. There can't be an in between. Do you think there could be a perfect in between?
And in between let's see. So real quick, to make sure I understand your question, can you list the outcomes that Disney seems to be presenting now?
Okay. Basically, okay, Cinderella, she ends up with Prince Charming, right?
Right.
Elsa ends up with no one. Meredith ends up with no one.
Merida from Brave?
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Disney, so I don't remember. But
I gotcha.
the Wish Girl and Encanto, like those aren't really. I don't know if they're considered princesses, anyways. But like, you know, it's not, because apparently it's been 15 years since they had like a romantic love story for the female and male lead. So, which was what's it called, Tangled. So.
Yeah. Tangled I have seen. Coco, Wish, Encanto I haven't seen those, but from what I understand, yeah, you're right, because there is just they end up with somebody or they don't end up with that somebody. There's not really much of an in-between on they just never had an interest in the first place or they have a platonic relationship by the end, which I would say a platonic relationship is a good in-between, because not every girl-guy pairing has to be romantically invested.
Mm-hmm.
They can just be friends.
Unless you're alpha male and you think that's not the
alpha male.
Red Pill Hot Girl Summer.
Red Pill Hot Girl Summer. Spring break.
Spring 1995 or something.
Yeah, it was 1995.
We're not gonna go into that detail just yet. That's a surprise for later on. But anywho, so if that's the case, or you think it's a platonic friendship that could be involved, do you think that would really invest people who are watching like Disney and whatnot? Because they're either going for like the love interest or no love interest, but like not just the platonic friendship type of angle.
That is true, because Disney does cater to very specific audiences, and the majority of their audience does want that romantic interest, and it could be projection for a lot of people, but there is still a market for narratives that aren't romantically charged. But Disney has kind of cornered that market of this is a will they won't they story, this is a love story, this is a enemies to friends story. There's always some sort of deeper relationship beyond friendship that could be extreme like or extreme dislike. That is a thing that they do.
Mm.
I think Disney knows what the audience wants, which is how they just keep. Well, I can't say that entirely because
Yeah.
some things are flopping. It's they think they know what the audience wants, so they keep doing a certain thing.
That's what I
It
was.
worked for a while, then it did.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, I don't know if that's still the same applies. All I know.
I'm thinking of like 90s, 2000s Disney that
Yeah.
I grew up with, and not current Disney that I no longer watch.
Yeah, honestly, the minute they started with just using CGI, it's just like, ugh. Because I'm like, I don't know why people hate handmade animations. Like, I'm just like, animation was just like really spectacular to look at. And I know like CGI is improving like crazy, but at the same time, it's just like I feel like it's being overused. And there's like you know, there's a beauty in the animation like from the 80s and 90s that you just don't get from CGI. Like, it could just be the old. The oldness in me talking.
No, 'cause there is a certain charm and passion that went into that. Like the scene of the gosh, yeah, the queen from Snow White, her transformation scene into the old hag was done in such an intricate, hand-drawn way, frame by frame, that you just could not replicate in CGI. It's just when you take it frame by frame and you listen to the story of how they made it, it's amazing. And I love watching special features to kind of know the making of things, especially in old Disney animation or any old hand-drawn animation at all, because there's a lot of history, story, and technique that goes into that, which is why a lot of old Disney movies have scenes that look like they were airlifted straight from another movie and reskinned. It's because they started picking up rotoscoping, where they would trace over old scenes but make it into different characters and get different sceneries, so they could speed up production by reusing animations tracing over them. It's really fascinating to hear the making of.
Yeah, like I know the one I always try to talk to my friends about. I was like, I hate the current CGI era because I was just like, if I wanted to watch live action, I would watch something else live action. I'm not gonna watch the story I've seen in animation in live action. So I was just like, it's like essentially when you see a live action anime, it's just like, why am I gonna watch the live action when I have the anime? So it's just like, ugh. I know some people like certain live action stuff. Like I know the One Piece live action people are very interested in, but for me, I just, unless I never saw the anime, I'm not gonna watch like the live action for it. So, and then they also make changes to it that is just like, I don't think it was really necessary. So it's just like, if it's not gonna be a one-to-one, or it's like, why am I gonna watch it if it's gonna be a one-to-one? So I get that kind of confliction. It's just like, if it's just the same thing, why am I watching this but in a different format? So
It's like if you're too faithful, you run the risk of upsetting people, and if you make it too liberal, then you run the risk of making it upsetting. No one's going to be fully happy with it. Kind of like when you cover a song, it's like if you make it too similar to the original song, people think you're not creative enough, and if you take too many liberties with it, then people are going to get upset anyway. There's really no good balance, because there's always some portion of the audience you're going to disappoint. Just which portion do you want to please?
that is true.